Hi guys, it's Amy with A2Z Stamping, and today I'm going to do a card for you using the Geared Up Garage stamp set. This is a really cute set, and it's good for doing masculine cards. A lot of times, you know, a lot of things tend to be more feminine, and people are always saying they want more masculine cards. Well, this is a great set. It does have a Happy Father's Day sentiment on it too, which is nice to have. But this is good. It has the car, tools, things like that, and then there's a set of matching dies that are really cute, and I'm going to use one of those dies to go along with it. So let's get started. This actually is a really simple card. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a piece of Whisper White cardstock that I cut out using my layering ovals dies. So I just used this one. I'm going to throw that back in here. The oval dies come in the plain or the scalloped edge, which is really nice. Throw it back in there so I don't lose it. And I cut one out, and this is what we're going to stamp onto. So I have the stamp, I have the car right here, and we're going to stamp him. I don't know why I called him a him, but I'm going to stamp him in my black memento ink. I guess I think this car looks like a him. Okay, ink him up, and I'm going to just line it up right as best I can right in the center. And stamp. Perfect. And let me grab my chamois, clean off my stamp. All clean. All right, and actually before I put my ink away, I'm going to set this aside. I have another piece of Whisper White cardstock here. Let me grab out my ruler. This is cut at 3 1/4 by 3/4, and I'm going to stamp the sentiment, "You're a classic." So this could work for a birthday card. It could work really for any occasion. Because we're just saying you're a classic. So let's see, I'm going to line it up and stamp. Perfect. Clean that off, and now my stamps are ready to be put away, and I can close that up. Okay, so I'm going to grab this back over here, and I have my Stampin' Blends. I have the light and the dark of the Calypso Coral. Let me just make sure. Yep, I have the light and the dark, and I'm going to color my car in. I thought I would make it a Calypso Coral car. I know it's a little different. When you're using the blends, it is good to put a scrap piece of paper underneath, just so that it can bleed through the paper. I've never had it bleed through, but you never know, just to be safe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the dark, and I like to kind of outline and do the parts. Oops, I don't want to go totally out of the lines. Let's not get too crazy here. I like to do the parts that are already a little bit shaded, like these lines and like this, but I'm going to just kind of outline it. Just shade this in a little. Okay, going to outline right here. And let's see, I'm going to do this front like this. Okay. Then I'm going to grab my, actually let me go right down this line. There we go. Then I'm going to grab my light, and I'm just going to fill it in. So I don't want to color my windshield. Let's see, let's finish this. I want to go all the way to the back, not the wheels. The wheels I'm just going to leave black. And I need to get the little mirror. Cute. We'll go all the way up here, around the little bumper guy. Okay. And there is a color lifter, so if I did color outside the lines, you can grab that, and it really does help. If you go like outside the lines and it really messes your project up, you can use the color lifter, and it'll pull that right out. So there. Okay, so my car is so cute in Calypso Coral. I don't even know if that color of a car exists, but I thought it was cute. All right, so I'm going to set that aside. All right, the next thing I did is I took the dies. What are the dies called? They're called the Garage Gears Thinlits dies. And I grabbed this die right here. Isn't that so cool? And I ran it through my Big Shot on this, I forget what this is called. Is it called foil paper? Can you see that? It's really cool. So I ran it through that. And then it looks like this when you're done. And then it is easier if you grab your die brush. So I'm going to grab my little foam mat. It comes with your die brush. And sorry, I got to reach here. So the Take a Pick now has a die brush. So you can go ahead and just pop this off. Pop this in. Oops, you guys, I totally just, hold on. Did the wrong end. Let's pop this guy off. There we go. And this guy screws right in. That's why this Take a Pick tool really is pretty cool. And I'm going to turn it over, and I'm just going to run my die brush right over this. Let me make sure I screw it in all the way, just to get all these little pieces out. If you don't have a die brush, you could just use your the paper piercing end of your take a pick tool, which I'm going to need to do anyway, but let me keep going in here. Because this die has a lot of little nooks and cranny pieces, so I'll just pop the ones that I can see out. And then see how there's these little holes? You just push on those and your paper will pop right out. Look at that. Isn't that so cool, the gears? And I have a couple more pieces. One, oops. This piece here needs to pop out, and they pop out really easily. And this little piece and this little piece, I thought I popped that out. One more little guy, there we go. And I can just shake, I'll shake that off in a second over my garbage. So this is what it looks like. Oh, that little circle doesn't want to come off, does it? Pop. So cute, right? Okay, so let's put our card together. So I'm going to start with a piece of thick Whisper White cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5. It's always best to use the thick Whisper White cardstock if it's your card base. Okay, give it a nice crisp fold with my bone folder. Our card's going to open this way. Then I have a piece of Calypso Coral cardstock, and I think I know, but let's measure. This is cut at 3 3/4 by, should be 5, yep, 3 3/4 by 5. And adhesive, we're going to stick this right on the front. And so there'll be a pretty thick white border, which is what we want. Okay, then I'm going to grab my gears here, and I'm actually going to, it's going to go across, oops, I see something on here that I don't want. Let's peel that off. Okay. It's going to go across the top, or it's going to go across kind of like this. So this guy is going to go above it. So let's measure, because I want this still in the coral, and I want this showing. So it's going to go about right here. So I think what I'm going to do, since it'll be covered a little bit, I'm just going to put some adhesive. Let me grab my silicone mat so I don't get ink all over my table. Just going to put some adhesive behind these top pieces, and then I'm going to try to get a tiny bit just on the bottom. Okay. Measure that one more time. Okay, so I think about like so. This guy's gonna go right here. Perfect. Then I'm gonna stick some dimensionals on the back of this. See how it did bleed through the paper a little bit? And I guess if you got really thick with your blending, it could bleed through onto your desk. So that is why we put the paper underneath. So I'm gonna peel these off. Okay, and this is going to go right up at the top. So cute. Okay, then I'm going to grab my Eura Classic, and I'm just going to stick some adhesive on the back. He's going to go right at the bottom. Eura Classic, and actually I can slide it right under there. It doesn't need to be covered. Oops. Eura Classic. It's not quite straight, but that's okay. I'm a little over to the left, that's okay. And then finally, to finish it off, I'm grabbing these adorable classic garage metal elements is what they're called. These are so cute, you guys. Okay, so they have, let me get closer. They've got keys and little wrenches. Aren't those adorable? So I think I'm trying to decide, I think I'm going to set a key on there. And in my sample, in fact, I'll show you my sample. In my sample card, I put my key up there. I'm trying to decide if I love that or if I want to stick it somewhere else. You're a classic. I think, you know what, for this one, I'm going to stick it down below. So I'm just going to grab my mini glue dots and I'm going to stick it right on the back. And the glue dot is a little bit bigger, so just kind of pinch your glue dot together. Oops. There we go. And I'm going to stick my key right here. And he's going to go right there. And that is my card. Isn't that so cute? You're a classic. I love it. And here's the one I did earlier. Again, my key's up at the top, but that's okay. You guys check it out too. The keys, they have like total detail on them. It's adorable. So anyway, that's my, what's it called? Geared Up Garage masculine card. I hope you enjoyed this video and you'll subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks guys. Bye.